to episode 2. If you don't know who I am, I'm Myaja. I would suggest go watch episode 1 so you can know what this is about and why I created this channel. But if you don't want to, let me give you a little rundown. Here we are learning, we're growing together, we are realizing we are adults, and some things we haven't been taught. So we're learning it, we're healing, we're growing, period. I had food poisoning, so I sound different, but just work with me. Today, our topic is finances. Basically, we're gonna be talking about budgeting, credit cards, debit cards, working, monthly plans and all that stuff, and savings accounts, emergency funds, all that good jazz. So let's get right into it. So we are back. I am going to break this into 3 sections. We have checking, saving, and emergency funds and accounts. We have credit, and we have budgeting. So we are going to start with the checking and savings and emergency funds, and we're just going to get right into it. So my number one thing that I wish I would have known was, when you have a checking and savings account, know what your number is. Know your account number, know your routing number. These things are going to be vital, period. Like, no matter where you work at, where you go, if you're trying to buy something, they're gonna ask for it. But it's also like, it's kind of like your social security number, so don't be going around telling people that, because they will rob you. Having a checking account, basically a checking account links to your debit card. Debit card means this, like, you can spend this amount of money because I have this amount of money on the card. Don't go over it. They will charge you, depending on your bank. My bank charges $30 extra if you go over or whatever. So I wouldn't suggest it. Keep track of how much money you're putting in, how much money you're taking out, how much money you're spending. And also keep in mind like the extra fees, like taxes and all that stuff. And like, say if you order something online, they charge. Keep track of that. So that's a debit card, which is linked to your checking account. Savings account. Number one thing when you're talking about savings accounts, don't take the money out when you put it in. That defeats the purpose. See, what I was doing was, I was taking the money, putting the money in, like every paycheck, and then I was like, oh, I'm running a little low, let me take the money out. Don't do that. Don't do that. Manage your money the right way. This is why we're having this conversation, because I'm not only just talking to y'all, I'm talking to me too, because I need to do better with finances. I am. Like, it's one of the number one things that I stress about, which I wouldn't suggest stressing, but that's what I said, we're gonna work through it. So savings accounts, I suggest have 2 savings accounts. One that's linked with your debit card, and then one like maybe at another institution, or a different way, like a different fully account, because you can have multiple accounts. Have that savings account and don't get a card for it, because you'll be tempted to spend the money. Talk to your bank. It depends on the bank, of course. My bank, if I really needed it, I have a number and I have a code. Those are the 2 vital things to know that, hey, listen, I need this. Like, so I would call that the emergency fund, because I would only really use it for emergencies. You're not just gonna go out and be like, oh, I want some food, let me transfer some money from my emergency or savings account. Don't do that. Every time you get paid, so let's say that you get paid $200 every week. Take at least $50 and put it in your savings, or if you want to split it in half, put $25 in your savings, put $25 in your emergency fund. That's one of the best ways to do it, period, because it'll start building. And like, just like if you have $5, you have $5 here, and then you add another $5, it adds up. I hope that's a little bit everything. If you don't understand, like, hit me up, whatever. Moving on to credit cards. I got my credit card going into my first year of college. Not a smart idea, not smart. So they give you a credit limit, especially when you're starting out. I had a $500 credit limit, which means I can only spend $500, and like, they charge you every month or whatever. They tell you how much you have to pay back. So say if I spent $500, next month I'm gonna have to pay like $50 and keep going. So I try to stay away from the credit cards. It's really how you rack up debt the most, you know. We good here. One thing that I wish I would have told, like I wish I would have known, is when you have a credit card, only use about 10% of it, 10% of how much ever it is, because it will add up. They don't tell you about like their statement payments. So you have the payments that you have to make, and then their statement payments. The statement payments is what's going to go on your credit. So say if your statement payment is on the 2nd, well, your statement goes out on the 2nd, but you spent such and such like the 31st of the next month, that's what's going to go on, and it's going to affect your credit. So be smart with that. Only use your credit card for like gas or like emergencies. Don't really put too many big purchases on it, except unless you know that for sure you're gonna be able to pay it off. Don't get a credit card if you don't have no job. They probably won't even you know, go through with it. If you don't have a stable job, don't get a credit card. Don't get a credit card. People be getting credit cards and racking up debt, and like I know the people on Shein and stuff like that be putting the little stuff in and changing the card. They gonna get you. It's gonna mess up your credit, and it all goes down. So they all link together. If you don't know anything about credit, there's different numbers in different sections. Like there's bad, there's good, there's fair. I think fair comes for good, and then there's like, you know, amazing or whatever. I think it goes up to 800. So 800 is like the perfect score. It may be able to go up to 9. I don't know. So yeah, you say if you want to buy a car or buy a house or whatever, they're looking at your credit. They're looking at how much you make. They're looking at your payment, like your payments and stuff on your credit cards, on your like checking accounts, how much money is in there, you know, what's coming in every month, what's coming out. They're looking at that. And if you mess up your credit by spending so much on your credit card, and you try to go get a car, and they looking like you ain't even pay your credit card off. I know you're not gonna pay this off. Like your credit, depending on how much you use, it will bump your stuff down. And I'm telling you, because I know from experience, I had a really, really high score in the 700s, and to be starting out, I'm only 21, so to be starting out and having that type of score, amazing. But then I was like still learning how to navigate stuff. I'm in debt right now. I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend, but I'm working on it. We're gonna get it paid off. So, and that really leads to budgeting. Make a budget. Have one for the month, for the week, and for the year. That was a sucky order, but you get what I'm saying. For the year, know how much you make. If you're gonna add another job, you know, think ahead. Like say there's 12 months in a year. You know you got rent due at the beginning of the year. Sit down, write down how much your rent is, how much you make, how much you're gonna be taking from that paycheck that you get on the 31st or whatever. And write everything down. I really think like writing it down and being able to see it is the best way to do it. Like weekly, if you're going to weekly, I know I like to eat out. I really do not like to cook. I can, but I don't like to. I would definitely say I just went blank. I would definitely say to budget. Like say, oh, I'm only going to spend like $50 throughout the week. You shouldn't be spending more than $50 throughout the week unless you're going out. Like I'm eating Wendy's for folks. Like, pause on a budget. At least you're eating. Budgeting, like when it comes like weekly, monthly, you know your expenses for the month. That just for like you pay rent once a month, most people. And you have like your light bill, your water bill, if it's not included stuff, your car note and stuff, your phone bill. Make sure you write all these things down, because if you don't keep track of it, sometimes they'll get over you, and they'll take more than what's expected because you're not paying attention. So budgeting is the best way to do. I can drop some links maybe to some like best budgeting like templates and stuff, because we got to get out of debt. The number one thing for this year is getting out of debt, building up our finance. So I really hope that this kind of helped, but of course I'm going to get into it a little bit more, but my video's kind of racking up, and I don't want y'all to be sitting here like, oh my gosh, she's been talking the whole time. So yeah, checkings, savings, emergency funds, credit, budgeting, all go together. Be smart about it. All right, cut the cameras.